Good morning on this Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us for Atlanta News First Plus. The weekend is here. Lots going on. I'm Megan Packer here to get you updated on what's making news this morning, and we will get you caught up on your weather forecast for the days to come with First Alert meteorologist Isaac Williams in just a minute. Such a hot forecast. You need to just stand by for that as we get you prepared for these hot temperatures and some storms, by the way, but he's got all the details. Right now, here's what we're talking about this morning. Really busy overnight for investigators in the city of Atlanta and into the morning. There was a shooting on a train, a MARTA train this morning, talking about the Buckhead station. Here's some video from our crew on the scene here. And what we can tell you is that around 8 o'clock this morning, a man was grazed by a bullet while he was on a train. That was headed to the Buckhead station. The victim was taken to the hospital with an injury to his backside. And MARTA police are on the scene at last check, investigating and searching for a suspect. Now, rail service in this area is continuing through the area on the northbound track, according to MARTA. Southbound trains were boarding from that northbound platform side at the Buckhead station. So just a heads up that customers may experience some delays with the red line service. But again, here's what we know: a shooting on a train headed for the Buckhead station this morning. A man taken to the hospital with an injury to his backside after MARTA says that he was grazed by a bullet, and no arrests at this point. Investigators are looking for the person who pulled the trigger. Atlanta police are investigating a few shootings from overnight, including a triple shooting on Edgewood Avenue. This is near a very busy area, several businesses in the area. On an early weekend morning, we know 2 men and a woman were shot. One of them was in critical condition, and we've got no suspect information at this point as far as who police may be questioning, if there have been any arrests, or if anybody's in custody. And they were also on the scene of a shooting near the Clark Atlanta University campus, right near Residence Hall, as you can see. This happened on James P. Brawley Drive Southwest around 1 this morning. Police say a male, unsure if he's an adult, was alert, conscious, and breathing. After he was shot, he was taken to the hospital for treatment. Unclear if this happened inside this building where you can see officers here, if it was outside, but certainly this is right near or at a residence hall at Clark Atlanta University. So still lots to learn about these overnight shootings. We'll keep you posted throughout the day as we learn more. Pretty interesting story out of HartsfieldJackson Atlanta International Airport. They just held their first graduation ceremony for the airport's full-time welding crew. This is something new over at the airport. The new employees are from the airport's welding apprenticeship, and again, they graduated yesterday. The graduates worked more than 4,000 hours on the job, and they had more than 300 hours in the classroom. And Hartsfield-Jackson is one of just a few airports in the country that's doing this program. So congrats to the new welding crew. Kind of interesting. All right, this is something that nobody wants to hear when you're out and about and you come across mosquitoes in metro Atlanta. More of them are testing positive for West Nile virus. The Fulton County Board of Health says crews are treating the areas in northwest, northeast, and southwest Atlanta where they were captured and tested positive. Health officials say that you need to avoid going outside if you can during dusk or dawn when the mosquitoes are most active. Wear loose-fitting, long-sleeve clothing. We're talking shirts and pants. And drain any containers holding standing water because those are just breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Any water that's standing and things you have on your property, you gotta dump it. Also, they encourage you to use insect repellent containing DEET. So stay safe out there. I know it's tough because it's so hot during the day, and then you go out in the early morning or evening, and then the mosquitoes are there. So you can't really win. Try to stay in the AC if you can, I guess is the name of the game here. So let's bring in First Alert meteorologist Isaac Williams to talk about our forecast because it's going to be a hot one this weekend and then just getting even hotter, Isaac, plus storms that you're tracking.
Yeah, Megan, some storm chances have increased a little bit into next week. But until then, it's going to be all about the heat. We're looking at the next heat wave that is building in across metro Atlanta. It's actually starting up today, and then we'll see it intensify tomorrow and into Monday of next week. We have 3 First Alert weather days coming up next week for Monday through Wednesday for the possibility of heat and then for storm chances to build in as well. Kind of a two-pronged first alert weather day at times next week. Today, though, we're looking good. Feeling okay enough. 95 the high temperature, just 5 degrees above the normal. The good news, though, is that the humidity is not going to be crazy bad today, but with limited rain, unless you're in some shade or in the AC, that 95 is going to be pretty hot. Tomorrow's high temperature into the upper 90s at 97, so we're going to be a little bit hotter tomorrow than we are today. Still, the humidity is not going to be super duper intense for this most of North Georgia, I should say, but today and Sunday do have a heat advisory for the eastern part of the region toward Lake Oconee, Eatonton, and Athens proper. That's where a heat advisory is in effect today and tomorrow for the heat index up to 108. Elsewhere in North Georgia, we're going to have the heat index around 100, so not to that 105 threshold for a heat advisory. We're only seeing that met for a few counties over in the eastern part of Georgia, so keep that in mind. If you have any lake plans near Lake Oconee, or if you're heading out and about in Athens today or tomorrow, just be prepared for a little bit more dangerous heat there. The rest of North Georgia, again, feeling like 100 degrees. Then, Monday, an extreme heat watch in effect. This is for, feels like temperatures over 110 degrees. So the 110 to 111 is kind of the threshold where we go from advisory to warning. And so basically the Weather Service has issued this heat watch for Monday for the possibility of going into a warning criteria. So basically, Metro Atlanta is not in a heat watch because we're not expecting a 113 heat index here in the metro, but we are expecting 105 plus heat index numbers for Monday. So that's the reason that we're looking at the first of 3 first alert weather days next week. But extreme heat watches and warnings around here are not as common as heat advisories around here. So we want to be extra prepared and extra ready for this dangerous heat next week. Here's a look at 5 p.m. Monday heat index numbers. 112 in Eatonton, 106 in Covington, 104 here in the metro. So, again, this weekend is hot. Monday is probably the hottest day. Tuesday, about the same. We are going to see some storm chances built in Tuesday, potentially. It's going to depend on how fast and kind of when the storms form, because we're still looking at some dangerous heat, plus the chance at a few stronger storms in the afternoon and early evening. If the storms form quicker, then obviously we won't be quite as hot. But if they wait and be a little bit later on in the day, of course, then that dangerous heat will be certainly something that we have to pay attention to again for Tuesday. Again, those storm chances possibly messing up the heat forecast a little bit. We hope that rain forms sooner so that we won't be as hot, but we can't guarantee that. But we are expecting about a 40% coverage of storms. Now, this model is aggressive, and that's just due to its resolution. But we don't expect this widespread coverage of rain and storms, but I am expecting a busier radar picture Tuesday afternoon at 6 p.m. So first alert for heat, first alert for storms that could impact the rush hour commute driving home on Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. The models have continued to trend a little bit wetter for Tuesday. So I've backed off the temperature a little bit, but we have increased the rain and storm chance. That's what we're looking at for Tuesday. And you can see, just like previous events around here, things are kind of moving from east to west, which is a little backwards from what we're used to. But that's the movement of Tuesday storms, and the same thing that we get for Wednesday as well. We'll come back to the 7-day in a second. Here's first alert radar this almost afternoon. It's 11:30. We've got some storms over in Texas and Louisiana. Mississippi and Alabama will see storms today. We probably won't in Georgia. And if we do see any rain today, it's going to be very limited. I don't expect any storms today, and very limited rain coverage for this Saturday afternoon. Looking ahead here, actually I'll come back to that 7-day in 1 second. Looking ahead to rain totals over the last 24 hours, we did get a little bit yesterday, not inside the perimeter in Atlanta though, but in South Fulton County over there on the Coweta County line. Downpour produced 2 inches of rain, and then we had a heavier shower outside of Marietta and Smyrna that produced almost an inch of rain, and then outside of Douglasville, barely enough to measure. It sprinkled in Atlanta yesterday, but we really didn't have any measurable rainfall, and that's what I'm expecting really for today as well. You can see across the state over the last 24 hours, areas near LaGrange and over into East Alabama saw the best rain yesterday. Friday afternoon and Friday evening. The main story continues to be the heat. That's what we're tracking going forward here. We've got lots of hot weather in store. But the good news is there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. This is a look at the first maybe 10 days or so of August. We're right around the corner from a new month, and this gray shaded colors kind of in the middle. So this means like normal temperatures. So over the past few weeks, we have had a pretty consistent signal that this weekend was going to be really hot, and early next week, really hot. We're not seeing a really hot signal in our models for at least early August. I know August can be brutal around here as well, but at least there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. For the first part of the month of August is trending a little bit less hot. Not cold, not chilly, but just a little less hot. You can see those blues to the north of us. That's where some even more less hot air will be kind of across the Midwest and Great Lakes. They've been kind of hot recently as well, and they will see those temperatures trend down just a little bit. In our 7-day forecast, we really don't see the scope of that just yet. We've got the hottest 3 days coming up today, tomorrow, and Monday, and then we start to trail the temperatures off a little bit with 3 first alert weather days continuing. Monday is just for heat. Tuesday and Wednesday is for heat plus potential storms. And then Thursday, we see the rain chance back off a little bit to 30%, and then rain chances could pick up again by next Friday. But it does look like that certainly the first couple days of next week, first few days, will be the busiest. This coming weekend, the one we're in now, is going to be mainly dry and increasingly hot, 95 and 97. Pushing 100 next week on Monday. Again, it's hard to hit 100 degrees. Thankfully, we don't do it very often in Atlanta. The last time was just last year. But the last time before that was back in 2019. So we've only hit 100 degrees at HartsfieldJackson twice in the last 6 years or so. So hopefully we fall short of the 100-degree mark, but we certainly will be feeling like 100 plus for the next several days. And just be aware of the dangerous heat and the storm chances increasing toward next Tuesday and next Wednesday.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text WEATHER to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.